Let's make our decision then.
This is the Heidi, Heath and Normie podcast.
I introduced you boys to two very lovely ladies last week, Mandy and Jess from The Hunter Woman. We did say that they were going to be joining us every single week. Now, I can't... We're playing with your chair over here and we're going up and down. Anyway, so I introduced you to these two lovely ladies last week who write for thehunterwoman.com.au. Now, we were just talking when the mics were off about this baby moon business, which is something that you guys are going to be writing about this week. I have no idea what you're talking about.
What is a baby moon?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, actually, Jess and I were having this conversation last week, and I actually thought a baby moon was the time you spend with your husband before the baby was born, but in fact it's actually supposed to be after the baby is born.
So if you think about it in the way that you think about honeymoon, so you have the wedding and then you have the time together afterwards. Well, the baby moon was meant to be after baby, where the three of you, you all bond and get to know, this new family that you are. You're not two anymore, you're three anymore. But the travel industry has kind of taken it and repackaged it.
A little bit like Valentine's Day now.
Yep.
So
and Mother's Day.
So they're selling holidays for people to go partying, one last hurrah before the baby's born. Now, would you take a pregnant lady on a last hurrah? Because I think she'd be boring.
Goodness me, Heidi.
Like she's not going to be able to drink. She's not allowed to eat certain foods. Is it going to be that fun?
She can do other things.
Reading.
She can't get pregnant.
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
That's great. So you're going to be discussing this week because one of you has got a friend that...
Well, actually, we put it out on Facebook last night just to see what people actually thought about it, because I was gobsmacked. I actually thought it was pre-birth, so while you're pregnant, like we're talking about. But one lady came on Facebook who's actually a professional doula, and her name's Chrissy, and Chrissy was talking about how in some cultures, in fact, the mother post-birth is not supposed to touch the ground for 60 days, or in other cultures, you're hennaed on your hand pre-birth, and when that henna comes off, that's when you're...
Like a henna tattoo.
Henna tattoo, and when that wears off, that's when the mother's allowed to lift a finger. So
How
we're just
good would that be?
That would be amazing. Amazing.
So does that mean that the man has to stay at home?
Booyaka.
Well, it's interesting because of my male friends who have had kids to their wives, some have decided to take time off before the birth and others after. How important is it for you, because you both have two lovely kids each, Jess, how important is it to have Huzzy there when the bundle of joy comes home on that first day?
Oh, look, I think it's really, really important, and we planned for it, but due to a situation at my husband's work, he wasn't able to take as much time off as we'd planned, and I just think it's a real shame, because it's a really special time. And
so for me, from our first baby, she was a little bit of a surprise, so we weren't able to plan economically or financially for my husband Marco to have time off as much, but with our second baby, my husband was able to have 6 weeks off, which was amazing. And actually it was really critical to the relationship between the elder sibling and the younger sibling, because the elder sibling was still able to have that time with one parent, so it avoided that jealousy between the two kids, not just the bonding as a family, but the bonding between the two siblings.
That's interesting. Now, Mandy, talk of your 4-year-old. It was your first ever youngster. You're at home by yourself. Huzzy's at work because that's the way it happened. How hard was that?
Intense. And I think we've spoken about on the site before about postnatal depression, and obviously that's not a direct link with whether your husband's home or not, but I think definitely a mother really needs that support. It's a really testing time, bringing a newborn home. It's just an unknown world to a new mum.
And I think it's really important that workplaces appreciate that daddy does need to be home, that it is really important. I've got a friend who he's allowed to take 6 weeks off. He's a partner in a really top firm, but he says he can't because it would be frowned upon.
Yeah, we'll see. Look at our boss, Jace. He's just about to have a baby, and he's taking some time off, leaving us to run the show. It is good to see that.
You also look at people who are up against it financially, and the option's just not there. They're working to try and get that extra money. I've even heard of mums going straight back to work. So
well, that's what I was going to say. We were talking about this morning. My mum had to go back to work after 6 weeks after having me, because mum and dad couldn't afford, to have the time off.
Yeah.
So well, we want to know on 131060. We want you ladies to stay with us from the Hunter Woman, and we want to know on 131060, did you or your partner not take any time off when the baby was born?
Fiona from Singleton joins us on 131060. Now, Fiona, your huzzy went straight back to work when you had your little one?
Yes, I gave birth on the Sunday, come home 4 hours later, and he went to work the next day.
Now, was this because of financial constraints, or why was he back so quickly?
It was just because of his work roster, and he just couldn't have days off. And at the time, I had a 2.5-year-old and a 13-month-old as well.
Oh, wow.
What is it? What do you girls think about this, Jess and Mandy?
Fiona, I just want to cry. That must have been so difficult.
I had a 20-year-old niece come and stay with me for a few days, so it wasn't too bad.
But 3 kids, that's intense, right?
I ended up with 4 under 4, so it was pretty
Wow, that is superwoman right there.
Super mum.
Hats off to you, Fiona.
Yeah, you're a bit of an old hand at the youngsters now, but what about the strain in your relationship, Fiona? I mean, did it cause problems if Hubsy's gone straight back, though?
No, not really, because he, when he'd come home, at least he would cook dinner and stuff, so, yeah.
So he was
and then
pulling
when they
his
got a bit
weight.
bigger, sorry?
He was pulling his weight around the house.
Yeah, he's a good cook, so he would cook and stuff, so yeah.
Yeah,
I'd mow the lawn.
I have to ask the girls here, Jess and Mandy, because you're the ones that are writing this piece now. Do you guys judge people when you hear this? Because we were talking about it earlier this morning, and a lot of people, you know, when they have to go back to work financially, there's all this debate always about, oh, she went back too early, or he, you know.
I don't judge anybody, and I don't think anybody should judge anybody. Everybody's got their own individual reasons. It's family reasons, it's personal reasons, it's cultural reasons, it's financial reasons. It's to each little family. Anything that happens within that family unit is the decisions of the family.
Yeah, that's great.
And I think also once you have kids, you realise that it is such a, you know, it's a joy and a struggle, and you wouldn't want anyone to judge you, so you're less likely to judge anyone
that's
else.
a nice way to look at it. Now, Chloe from East Maitland on 131060. Hey, Chloe, did you take any time off when you had a little one?
I didn't take time off. It was actually my partner. He actually started a new job and actually got called into work the night shift the day after our daughter was born.
Now, what does that make you think of the boss or the work environment if a new dad can't even have a single day with his little baby?
No, the boss, the funny thing is the boss is mine and my mum's best friend.
Oh, so you think that he would have had more of a heart?
No, because it took him 3 weeks to get him a shift in there, and it just turned out to be I think he was supposed to work the day I went into labour.
So did he have any time off at all?
Yeah, he got 3 days after his first shift and spent 3 whole days with us.
Oh, wow. Now, you're already under that duress. You're about to have a little one. What's it like when Huzzy says, oh, you know what, darling, into work I go? Is that just impossibly hard to deal with?
A little bit, yeah, because having a newborn and being a first-time mum, it was quite hard having a baby that, I needed sleep and she didn't want to sleep and stuff like that. It would have been really easy with him having him home, but...
So, Chloe, did you have any other support that was there? Did you have a mum, a sister?
Yeah, my mum was there the whole way through. She took 3 weeks off work.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's special. That's nice.
She took 2 weeks off. I think I was 5 months pregnant when they found out my exact due date. She took 2 weeks off.
Oh, good on you, Mum.
Go, Mum.
So, girls, in closing up, Jess and Mandy, you'd have to say you need somebody. It might necessarily, Huzzy might be called off to duty or whatnot, but you definitely need someone to help you through that initial period with a newborn. Absolutely,
yeah. Your mum, a friend, your partner, and I guess we're redefining baby moon. It might not be the 3 of you, you know, the husband, wife, and newborn, but you need someone else to step in.
Yeah, I think
help.
definitely we need to just really refocus back on that time together with the baby. And like Jess said, times are changing, things are changing, so maybe it might not be your husband, but it might be your mum, your auntie, your best friend, your niece.
Or the milkman.
Who might be the father.
Well, we look forward to reading the piece today. It will be up at thehunterwoman.com.au.
Wake up with Heidi.